Hello, all my beautiful, amazing, dope-ass souls. Welcome to my channel. I'm Tina Marie J. So it's 1:11 a.m. Look at that, angel numbers right there. So happy 1:11, even if it's not 1:11 where you're at right now. Before I really get started on this video, because I really just want to kind of speed into the video, I first want to say thank you. I definitely appreciate from the bottom of my heart those of you who have been leaving me very beautiful messages of encouragement and who have reached out to me and expressed to me, just the beautiful words that like some of you have really said. It really does help when you're going through something really difficult in your life and you have people who are strangers you've never met. It kind of hits you a little differently because it's like, wow, I never met these people. And, there are people who express compassion in such a way that it's beautiful to see in a world like today where we're living in right now, where we got war and all this other stuff going on. So I just want to really say thank you. Yeah, it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty rough with, everything with my mom. But honestly, I don't really want to speak about that. So I just want to get straight into this video. This is a video that it's my experiences and it's my personal thoughts and ideas combined with a little story time for you guys. It's like a really super short story time. So I just want to get straight into this video, okay? If you do like this video as you're listening to, please give me a thumbs up. Share, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so that you'll be notified every time that I do go live or every time that I do come on, have a video or whatever. All right, so let's get started. So becoming woke after you leave religion. So here's the thing, that word woke, I personally do not like. I never use that word. You will never hear me say, oh, I'm woke. The reason why I don't really like that word is because I feel like a lot of people misuse it. They take it and it's just a fancy, cute little catchphrase. Like it's a trend word, a trendy word that people like to say. And so I personally don't like to use woke. I prefer enlightenment, awakening, which some people may say, oh, that's a trendy thing, but it's not. No one walks around and says, oh, I'm awakened. I mean, some people, but not like this woke word. You hear it all the time. I don't know. It's just a personal thing for me. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but that's just me personally. But after leaving religion, there are people who do experience this feeling of wokenness, and they express it as feeling like they basically have become brand new. They've become enlightened. I prefer to call it an awakening phase. So I did go through my awakening phase after I left Christianity. And before I even continue, like, I'm not trying to say that this is going to be everyone's experience because everybody's different. Some people have their own thing, not everyone goes from Christianity to spirituality, or from being a Christian to suddenly, oh, I'm woke. Everyone has a different path, but there are a lot of people who do kind of go in this direction. And so I personally went in this direction. I did go through this awakening phase, and it was like the craziest thing to me. It was like the biggest eye opener. It was the first time in my life I saw everything completely different. It's like, imagine you walk through your world, right? And you're seeing your world in like black and white. And then you go through these different experiences, and then all of a sudden one day you wake up, you go out, and your entire world is in color. And it's in colors you've never seen before. That's basically what it feels like. It feels like you have had the veil removed and you can now see. You thought you could see before, but that was nothing. Like, that was nothing compared to what you're seeing now. you could have never imagined this because you had to have gone through it in order to know what that's like. That's what an awakening feels like. That's what it feels like to go through an awakening stage. And for people who leave Christianity, a lot of them will go through an awakening stage and they'll be kind of confused as to what's going on, because for some people, the first thought, for some, not all people, not all, but for some people, they may think this must be Satan. Like, this is Satan. This is the devil trying to entice me. This is nothing to do with God. This has nothing to do with the Bible. So this must be Satan trying to entice me. So, you know, some people, it could become scary because they're just like, they're starting to see things different, and it's scary because it's scary to see things different. So that is something I went through as well. It was a little bit scary. It was like, it was scary and exciting at the same time for me, because I was beginning to see things very different. And I'll explain specifically what I'm talking about when I say different in a little bit. And my throat hurts. I think I'm coming down with something. And I have a home COVID test I'm going to have to take. I'm just giving myself a day to take it. But my throat has been bothering me. It's been bothering me all day. It's been feeling really weird. So yeah, so I did go through that. I did go through that phase. And that's something that you may be going through. That's something that you may have already gone through. A lot of people do go through it, like I said, and then some people don't. It really just depends on the person. But I don't regret going through it at all, because it basically taught me everything that I know now, and lessons just continue to come from that. All right, so when I say seeing things different, what do I mean? So when I say seeing things different, I'm speaking in reference to things like, you know how some people believe, there are people who believe things on a surface level, and then there are people who think deeper. You know, some people may call those people conspiracy theorists. But in reality, they're just people who think a little deeper. I'm not saying that you're not a deep thinker if you don't believe in conspiracies. You may still be a deep thinker, just in other ways, you know. But a lot of people who believe in the conspiracies, or believe in the things they say about the government and the, you know, this whole thing, which I'm not going to say what, you know what I'm talking about, but this whole thing that's gone on is a plan. You know how people call it a plan, an agenda. So there are people who believe those things, and those people think very deeply. And then there are people who just believe more on the surface, like, no, this is important. This is something we must do. This is something we must take. We must get this medication. We must listen to doctors. You know, like just very surface level. We must go to school, get a college degree. We must get a career, a good job, work a 9 to 5, live comfortably. Don't try to aim for wealth or riches. Just be comfortable, live comfortably, call it a day. You have to stay in that relationship. You can't get out of it, because this is tradition. You must stick it out to the very bitter end, no matter how much it pains you. You must continue to do this and go in this direction, because this is the direction everybody else is going in, and we have to follow in line. We must stay in line. Like, that's exactly what it's like when you are, as the Bible says, in the world, but not of it, right? So right now I feel like I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world, because I'm in the world. I'm in this robotic world that we're living in, but I'm not a part of it, because I may take part in some of it because I need to survive as a human, a living being here on this planet right now. But I know at the end of the day that I have more control over what I want in my life and the direction I'm going to go in than what society has made me believe. So that's why I say I may be in this world, but I'm not of it in that way. And a lot of you aren't neither. You may find yourself feeling like you're learning all these things about yourself and about your surroundings and about just life in general and about people. And you're questioning things. And you're going into rabbit holes and you're learning a bunch of different things. And then you begin to notice that you start to see things differently bit by bit, more. And as you're seeing that you're looking at life and the world in a different lens, as you're seeing that, it sometimes can almost kind of feel a little bit scary, because you might feel a little bit like, oh, this feels like a territory I should not be stepping into. This started territory. It feels very, very, very uncomfortable for me because I'm not used to this. I'm not used to but like just seeing things differently. I'm used to seeing things in a certain way. I'm used to believing in a certain way. I'm used to this is how it is and that's how it should be. All of that. And now you're seeing things in a different way and you wasn't expecting it, and it's scary, and it's just, like I said, it's uncharted territory. It's a territory you've never, ever explored. It's a direction you've never gone in. It's the woods with no flashlight. It's basically you in there and you feel like you're going through it by yourself. And other people can't go with you because they're still thinking more surface level. They don't see the world in color yet. They still see it in black and white. If you've watched The Matrix, you will understand, probably, because I probably sound crazy, but I know some people are going to get what I'm saying. But if you've watched The Matrix, you would know what I'm talking about, like with the blue pill and the red pill and all that. You will understand what I'm talking about. But that's basically exactly how I felt. And I thought I was crazy because I never even knew that was a thing. I just I had to read about it and Google research and all of that and talk to people who I knew who were spiritual, who I was friends with, who were spiritual, in order for me to even know what I was really experiencing was called an awakening. I did not know anything about that. So that's pretty much my experience, and what I can say to you, if that's something you're going through that you may be experiencing as well. Don't feel like you're crazy or you're on your own or you're alone or this is Satan trying to lead me in the wrong direction and all of that. No, it has nothing to do with any of that at all. It has to do with the fact that, like I said, you're starting to see life and the world in more color because you don't have any borders. There's no lid on your box. There's no box at all. You're free. You're out. You leave Christianity. And when you leave Christianity, you're free to make decisions. You're free to go church, not go church. You're free to read the Bible, not read the Bible. You're free to believe in a God or not believe in a God. You literally are free, and it's up to you and what you do with that freedom. And that's the free will that we were given from birth. We were given free will, but then we join religions and churches that are toxic for us. I'm not saying they're all toxic for us, but we join some that are toxic for us. And then what ends up happening is we end up just being boxed in. And so when you leave religion and you're no longer in that box anymore, you basically feel very, very free. You feel like you can use this free will that you were given. You can actually finally use it. And sometimes it's scary. It could feel a little bit scary to use it. It could feel intimidating, I should say. But trust me, as time goes on and you continue to see things differently, it's not scary anymore. You kind of learn the ropes. You learn you learn your way through. You learn kind of how to float first, and you start paddling. Then next thing you know, you're just swimming. You're swimming. You're swimming, and that's how it feels. And yeah, you're not always gonna have people that agree with you. There's gonna be people that are gonna tell you Satan got a foothold of you. Satan completely got a hold of you. Your heart has become hardened. That's why you won't come back and return to the faith, to Christ. You won't go back to Christ and repent because your heart has been hardened, because you are a part of the world now. I don't want to tell you not to listen to that, because that's something that you need to decide for yourself. But I personally do not listen to that. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say is like that. Like, you do what you want to do. You believe what you believe, and I have no judgment at all. I believe everybody should follow and believe what feels right for them. But me personally, I don't listen to that, because I feel like that's a way of trying to bait me, to pull me back into my shell. And I love knowing all the things I know, learning all the things I've learned, seeing things the way I see it, and just building relationships with the type of people I build relationships with. Not saying that you can't do this when you're in the faith, but honestly, let's just be real. It's not that simple all the time. It's really not all the time. I mean, I think for some people it could be, but you go to church and people know your business. You don't go to church and people have something to say. If I were to ever be a Christian, nobody would know, because I wouldn't go to church. I would be a Christian at home. I would be a Christian at home. And I'm talking about a real Christian. Like, if I was to actually become a Christian again, like, I would read the Bible. I would do all the Christian stuff except go to church, because then that's when it gets messy. It gets really messy. That had nothing to do with this video. I just threw that in there because you know how I am. I just keep going. But yeah, that's what I would do personally. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. That's just is not a wrong or a right thing. That's just how I feel about it. That's just my opinion. But as I said before, you're not in that. You're not in church. You're not in Christianity. So you are yourself, and so you're able to explore. All right, so I just want to share this quick little story time about a time when I got invited to go on a show. So I never did a video on this, but when my daughter, she's now in 10th grade, she was in 7th grade. When my daughter was my oldest, she was in 7th grade, and she had an issue with her teacher. She had a real issue with her teacher. I had her record her teacher for a week straight. I edited all of the recordings, and I pulled out the important clips. I edited it down to like a 35-minute clip, and the whole thing was like 4 days worth. I think it was like somewhere between 4 to 6 hours worth of video footage that I had. Not footage. It was a vocal recording, voice recording. So basically, this woman, she was terrible. She was a whole lot of things. I'm not gonna say, because I'm trying not to curse so much on here. But you couldn't put me in a room alone with her. There was no possible way. I told her that at parent-teacher conference, and she actually kicked me out. And my husband was with me, and I was like, this is the only reason. That was the first and only parent-teacher he's ever been to. I begged him to come to that one, because I was like, I can't be alone with that woman, because I might lean across that desk, pull her, and drag her straight across that classroom and just beat the out of her. Because in the videos, the voice recordings that I had my daughter record, the woman was basically completely berating, mocking, verbal abuse. Then that turned into her claiming my daughter wasn't handing in homework when she was, because I was helping her with a lot of it. She would grade everyone's but not hers. She would make jokes. She was just real nasty. It was a lot of stuff. She was doing a lot of shiesty. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but she was doing a lot of shiesty stuff. I don't mind doing a story time video on that separately. But the school didn't take me serious, so And she didn't take me serious because I had a talk with her from the first time when it first started. And I think that's what triggered her to become worse. She just treated my specific child different from the rest. And it made my daughter's entire year terrible. And what was messed up about it is that my daughter dealt with bullying since 3rd grade. Bullying, anxiety, and depression. And this woman just made it worse. I was ready to beat the shit out of her. The complete shit out of her. When I think about it, I want to beat the shit out of her. But long story short, I ended up taking it to the news. I was like, all right, New York City public schools don't want to take bullying serious unless your kid is going to a private school where they're paying a whole bunch of money. Okay, no problem. I took it to the news. That was a big thing. From there, after being on the news with my daughter talking about it, we got invited to be on another show. We got invited to be on Mel Robbins. She only had 1 season, but she had a talk show. She's a motivational speaker, and I always really loved her. I've been listening to her since after I left religion. I had started listening to her motivational videos. So I was excited when we got invited to go and be on her show to talk about the experience my daughter had. So we went on the show. After we went on that show, I started getting, I guess, some sort of notice for some other networks or whatever. And I got invited for 2 more shows. I turned down both of them. The first one I turned down, it had nothing to do, neither one of the shows had anything to do with my daughter and her situation. It had to do with whatever they wanted it to be about. And this is going to tie into the whole point of this entire woke after religion thing. You'll understand in a minute. But basically what happened was that I don't want to name the show. I was about to, but I decided I'm not gonna put out a name, but you definitely know. I'm positive you know what show it is. She's very, very popular. Very popular. But basically they called me, and I'm thinking that they wanted to talk about the situation or whatever. And they just started asking me questions about, the first question I remember the person on the phone was asking me was, is there any situation in your life that you need to be fixed? And I'm just like, my finances? I mean, I have a lot of things in my life I need to be fixed. Who the hell doesn't have anything to be fixed? So I didn't understand where they was going, but basically where they were going with that was they were trying to find some sort of an angle. They were trying to find something that they could pull so they could be like, okay, come on our show. We'll do this. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about that. It ended up turning into my relationship. At the time, me and my husband had already started talking about wanting to go our separate ways. This was in the very beginning. This was actually in 2019. And we had talked about wanting to go our separate ways. So then they started asking me a bunch of questions about my marriage, how long have you been together? What kind of issues do you guys go through? What changes do you think you need to see? Do you think that this could change? Do you want to try to fix it? And I was just like, all right, I don't think I feel comfortable going on a talk show where people all over with cable can see and hear me talking about my relationship, because that's my business. I don't feel comfortable sharing that. That was number one. Number two, they wasn't paying me anything for it. I had to fly out I had to fly out to Atlanta for a whole week. And my kids, I had to find someone to stay with my kids. They wasn't paying anything. So I remember I was like, so there's no kind of stipend for this? Because the first show I went on, I did get something for. I'm like, so there's no kind of stipend or nothing like that for this? And she's like, no. And I remember this white girl had the nerve to say to me, and she said it so uppity too. She's like, listen, you're about to meet so-and-so and be on the best show, the best network. Everyone around the world is going to see you. So you're worried about the fact that we're not going to be paying you? I'm like, I don't give a fuck who I'm meeting. Is she paying my rent this month? That's all I want to know. Is she paying for my rent? Is she going to be paying these bills? Because Spectrum and Con Ed is not waiting. My Metro card, she's going to be paying for that too, so I can hop on the MTA bus? I don't think so. Like, the audacity of this chick, that like really got me mad. And no offense to white people, I just said white girl because you know how some, you know, if you're a minority, you understand sometimes like they have this uppityness and they speak to you sometimes, and it's kind of like, you know, because I'm asking about getting paid. Like, I'm not trying to get rich. I just want to make sure that I can handle my priorities here in my real world, since I'm be away for like a whole week and you telling me I can't even bring my kids with me. You know, that was basically what it was. But that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, her whole tone was off. I didn't like that at all. I was like, girl, I'm not worried about all that. So that was the first red flag for me. Actually, that was the second red flag. The first red flag was all the questions about me and my relationship, trying to find an angle. So they wanted me to think about it. I thought about it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, called me back, and I was like, all right, yep, no, don't want to do it because I don't feel comfortable, because I feel like you're trying to give me exposure, but it's not the right exposure. And someone had told me, oh, you should go on these shows. No matter what it's about, you should go because you have a YouTube channel and this is gonna give you the exposure you need. And I kind of like, from 2019 to, no, what actually, I was on that show in 2020. It was literally the show I went on with my daughter, that one was in 2020 in January. That was right before that whole thing with, you know, this thing started up. But after that, I started getting calls for other ones, and I thought about it, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that because that's just not what I want to do. I'm not gonna put myself out there on national television to look like a complete ass to be judged. And even though people may say, oh, well, who cares? I care because it's my business. Like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel, but there are things that I'll share if I want, and there are things that I won't share if I don't want. Let me tell you, if I shared every single thing that goes on in my life, the views that I once was getting when I was talking about the ICOC, I'll get that times way more. Trust me, my life is insane. My life is chaotic sometimes. I can have a whole channel where I'm just vlogging my life and I'm talking all about all the crazy shit that goes on in my life. And I'm positive I'll get views because people like that crazy drama stuff. They like drama. You know, they like all that. People listen to that. People like the BS. I do too. I listen to it too. You know, it's entertaining, but that's not what I want to do. And I just can't make myself do what I don't want to do. And so they kind of went back and forth with me for a while about not wanting to go on this show with my husband to talk about our messed up relationship. And I was just like, it felt like exploitation, you know? It just felt like this is just a media thing. And that's my whole thing. Before, when I saw things in black and white, I probably wouldn't have saw it the same way I do now. I wouldn't have felt comfortable going on sharing my business because I've never been comfortable with that. But I wouldn't have seen it as much as how I see it now, where I don't feel like I missed out on anything. Like, oh, you missed out. You should have went on that show. You never know. You should have went. You know, like I don't feel like I missed out. I feel like I can do that on my own. If I really want to do something, I could do it for myself. I could do it on my own. But, you know, some people, they want to make money. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to be known. They want to be recognized. They want all this respect and appreciation, but for the wrong things, or they start off on the wrong foot, starting out the wrong way, and doesn't have their heart and intention in it. I always told myself from the beginning, no matter what I do, I'm putting my heart and intention into it. Same way how I stopped doing ICOC videos. I could have kept it going. I would have had way more subscribers by now, probably. If I kept it going consistent, kept putting out ICOC, people are going to continue to join that cult. So, you know, people are always going to find me if I keep talking about it. But I don't want to talk about it because I'm tired of talking about it and I'm past that. And so instead of me deciding to keep up this facade, you know, and pretending to be this YouTuber who loves to talk about the ICOC, you know, like instead of doing that so that I could get more views and for the coin and all that, I'm like, no, I'll risk it. Like people will unsubscribe, my views will go down. I'll get like 50 to 100 views in like a matter of several weeks it'll take, and I don't give a shit because you know what? I'm talking about what I want to talk about. And so I'm not going to go and put myself out there just so that I can get all these amazing things, because I'm not doing it with the correct intention. I feel like that's what the world wants. Society wants. Society wants you to do things without the right intention, without the pure heart behind it. You know, we have to all do the same thing. We all gotta have jewelry. We all gotta have cars. We all gotta have all these houses. We all gotta have all the women. We all gotta have all the shoes. We all gotta have all the clothes. It's like men and women, you know, men following each other. They gotta have this, and that. Women, this, and that. Like, it's one thing to like things and to want it and stuff. Like, for instance, huge best example, BBLs. Oh, everybody gotta have a BBL now. Everybody's hips gotta look like shelves. Everybody gotta get on Instagram and TikTok and freaking Facebook and shake their ass. Like, I saw a video the other day on WorldStar. I'm like, what was the point of that? Girl was in a store, pulled down her leggings beneath her butt, just had a BBL like a couple of weeks ago, and just was walking around freaking 7-Eleven with her leggings below her cheeks just to show off, oh, look at my ass. Like, really? Is that all you've got? Like, you've come into this world with such a purpose, and all that you can do is pull down your leggings and show us your fake ass that you have built on the table. You don't got nothing else going for yourself though. And now everybody's doing it. So everybody's making videos where, you know, they're twerking and they're getting all this attention from men. They be the same females complaining. It's like, but everyone's following the lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's a robot. Everybody's moving the same direction. This is a trend. Let me go on the trendy section, even though I'm not into that. That's not my thing. That's not my style. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to buy it anyway. I'm going to follow that person anyway. But why? So we could all be the same. And so when you start to see things in color, you don't see it like that no more. So people could be like, damn, you know, you're whack. How you don't got that? How you don't got the newest Jordans? How you don't? I mean, some of us, probably most young people, be worrying about. But you'd be surprised. There'd be people in their 30s and 40s that still. I got friends in my 30s who still think the same way. Like, they would rather spend all their tax money, and I used to do this too, but I was young. But now they're in like pushing their 40s. They will spend all their tax money just to get a bunch of matching Jordans and buy a whole bunch of, I don't want to say the words, flour, the stuff that makes you feel very elevated, Your Highness. They rather go and spend all their money on all these things, which is nothing wrong with spending on flour. You got to have your flour. But you got to have money for other things too. And it's like, but they don't save it. They don't try to save it for anything. They don't try to multiply it. They don't try to use it to travel, to see the world. It's always just material, you know, and they get stuck in that mindset that they're 20s, 30s, 40s, and they're still living in the same place, doing nothing. And all their tax money is getting blown. And this is no disrespect to anyone who does it, because like I said, I've done it too. I'm not judging, but at some point you got to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Because then you got to realize, like, what am I really doing? I'm following everybody else, or as some people will call the sheep, following the sheep, you know, and you don't want to follow. You don't want to follow. You want to do your own thing. And I feel like that's what society wants. And this is where the woke word comes from. People will say you're woke if you realize these things. Like I was saying before in the movie The Matrix, you know. So yeah, so I turned down the third show because I didn't like what it was about. I felt like they had saw my Instagram and my channel and saw that I was like, you know, a little bit outspoken. They picked certain pieces apart of my personality based off that and were like, we want you on our show. All right, so a mixed chick from New York City who is not afraid to say how she feels and doesn't care what people thinks about her, and you're gonna put her on the show, right? And this show, you know, it was basically where I live in a house with, I forgot how many, I think it was like, it starts off, it's a game type of a show, but you also live in the house, like in the real world with like 20 people, or people start getting eliminated and you win a whole bunch of money at the end. So I was told by someone that I should do it, because I actually was told by several people I should do it. And it was funny because if I did it, it was actually recording this past summer that my mom got diagnosed. It was recording that summer. I did think about it long and hard, but and there was money involved. You know, it was like multiple ways to even win the money. But I was like, no, hell no, because, and this is a show I'm not going to mention, but a lot of you probably have seen it as well, or at least heard of it. I never watched it. I never was into it, but I've heard of it. But basically, in a lot of the shows, like, you live with a bunch of people get into arguments, there's drama, there's beef. I don't like confrontation. I try so hard to avoid confrontation just because I don't like the awkwardness of it, number one. Number two, when I get upset, I get upset. Like, I'm still working on it, you know, and I was just afraid if I go on that show and someone says something or does something to me, because I'll mind my business. I'm not here for you. I'm here to win money. I'm here to win money. I'm not here for the drama. But you know, there's always those people. And come on, we know, if you watch Love and Hip Hop and all those shows, you know that the producers, they may say, oh, we don't have anything to do with it, and there's no script. They're BSing. They be trying to amp it up because, come on, they know what people are going to watch it for. People aren't going to watch it if there's no drama. How do you think Bad Girls Club got so far? And I wasn't trying to go on there to be in no drama and make me look bad. And even though, yeah, I don't have to be in drama, it's the point is that I didn't want to risk it because I don't know who I'm moving in with. 20 people? Are you kidding me? I barely like crowds. I don't even like going to Times Square. 20 is a crowd to me. That's way too many people to me. That's way too many people. Obviously, Times Square is more people, but my point is I don't like any crowd. It could be a huge crowd like freaking 42nd Street, or a little crowd like 20 people in the house. Absolutely not. Nope. No can do. Not at this point. Maybe when I was like 22, I could have did it and pulled it off. But now, hell no. So I turned that show down, and I felt like, you know what? I'm not gonna let anyone put me out there and try to make me look bad, you know, try to edit me in a certain way. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what their intentions are. So yeah, so that was basically my experience. That was my experience. That was what happened. I know this was a long video. It was like no way I could have made it any shorter. But that's basically how I think now. Like I can come from a humble place, and I can come from a place where I'm just like, you know what? I'm grateful for where I am now, because I know if I'm grateful for where I am now, then I'll get so much more because of the fact that I was grateful for where I am, instead of worrying about the fact that I don't have something, or, oh, I got to keep this lie up, or I have to keep up this, not lie, I don't lie, but I mean like keep this facade up, or I have to, you know, you have to be a certain way for the world. You have to, or some people do lie, you know, some people do lie. They lie just to, on YouTube. They lie on YouTube. They lie in real life so people will like them, make it seem like they have this amazing life. It's like, what? You never even did those things. Which I've met people like that, habitual liars or pathological liar, whatever you call it. You know, there's people who do these things. They feel like, because I need to be validated, I need that acceptance. And I don't feel that way. I feel like I can validate myself. So I don't need that. I don't need to be on these shows if they're going to try to put me out in a way I don't want to be put out. That's number one. And number two, it had nothing to do with what I would rather it be about. If it was a show where they wanted to know about my experience of being in religion or being in a cult, or if it was a show like a talk show like that, or if it was like a show where they want like a podcast interview, I'm down with that, because that has to do with me and my path and where I'm going, or wanting to know about me and, you know, things like that, and taking it in that direction. That would be totally different. But to just put me out there just like that, no, for their benefit, hell no, hell no. You have to follow your own path. That's the whole point. After I left Christianity, I learned how to follow my own path, and I learned that I needed to follow my own path. You have to stay true to yourself no matter what. Because if you can't stay true to yourself, who's going to be true to you? You got to be true to yourself. There's no other way. So anyway, that is all I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you did. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had any experiences or what you think about this. I know a lot of you may be able to relate, because I've had conversations with a couple of you about this in the DMs. Speaking of DMs, if you're not following me, make sure you're following me on Instagram, TinaMarie_J. That is my Instagram. And also, if you are coming from a cult, then I do have a Facebook group called Beautiful Souls. So especially if you're coming from the ICOC cult, which is the cult that I was a part of, then make sure that you do come and, well, I can't say check it out because it's private. So you'll have to answer just 2 short questions, and then you can get in, and then you could check it out. But yeah, come check out the Facebook group. It can help you on your healing journey. That is pretty much it. Do like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Again, I'm going to say again, I appreciate you guys very much. I do appreciate if you do continue to send your prayers, no matter what your religion is. For me, praying is different than how I was praying when I was a Christian. So if you're spiritual, you know what I mean when I say pray. You know, just sending out all positive love and light, and all the love and all the positive thoughts that you can to me and my family right now during this very difficult time with my mom. I'm definitely going to need it. I definitely am. But she raised me to be a strong individual. So at this point, I have to be strong for her, you know? So I know that to be true. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to this video. I appreciate you guys. Have a very good week. Enjoy the rest of your day or your night.